Hello, everybody. My name is Madman. I'm a competitive Splatoon coach and analyst, and today I'm going to be talking about position and how we can learn the game by where we can sit on the map. This is going to be an unscripted ramble, so I'm just going to go over some things like how we can find what a good position is and some examples of some strong positions. So, positioning is one of the most important things in Splatoon because, quite simply, when we have like our pretty much weapons that are specialized into doing one thing, like our pen is specialized into holding space and getting paint down. So, like, we want it to be in a position that helps it utilize its strengths and cover its weaknesses. And for pen, a position like this where it can paint the zone very clearly, watch those sight lines in mid, deny other angles from like approaching it, and it has extra cover for it to work around. That's a really good position, and that's what we should be playing around. However, if we were to put the pen like somewhere over here, it doesn't really have those sight lines onto the zone. Like, it can paint this bit while actually looking forward, but it doesn't want to turn around because then it can get punished from here, and it's hard for it to even defend from here in the first place, even if it's looking over there, because there is cover, and typically people who are dropping from that side are short range mobile weapons that are going to be able to approach that. And the pen, even if it like realizes it's getting pushed there and backs out, what's it doing here? That's just like a brief example of what we're going to be going over and like why that position's good, but like that kind of shows you how relevant these positions are. And it's really important for us to try and understand as many as we can. Overall, we can't understand every position in the game without putting in effort on our own. We're gonna have to take like some studying ourselves to like understand this, especially with our own weapons, because like I personally play Wellstring. Nobody plays this weapon, period. I mean, like some casuals do, people in Rainmaker do, but like competitively, nobody uses it. So I kind of have to figure out where I need to position on my own. And if you're running a niche weapon like that, then you're gonna pretty much just have to find it out on your own as well. And yeah, we're gonna go over how you can do that. So let's go to a random stage. Mako. So I'm gonna give us a meta comp right now, just because that's gonna be probably what's most common. Part of me wants to put Splash, but part of me knows that the Western scene is using this thing. I don't really agree with it. I can understand fighting capabilities on a support, that makes sense, but I don't think missiles are quite as good as people are making it out to be. And I don't think the main quite is like that amazing. I think it's fine. That's why I'm gonna use it here, but I overall don't like it as much as others. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So yeah, standard meta comp. So pretty much, we're gonna take our comp that we're gonna be using, and we're gonna try and decide some positions on retake, on neutral, and on holds for where we're going to be positioning. Yeah, the green circle's a bit bigger because you don't typically push up as far on holds. Like, typically you won't be going beyond this line, but this area here still exists. So, like, we want to try and keep our weapons in these bounds for like what would be good for us when we're playing in a certain state of the game. So we're just gonna look at where each of our individual weapons want to go and how we can spread them out to get like what we need. Like on retake, for example, we want our blast playing around ledges. If like we do have to respect if something is down here, but like the S blast still can deal with that, and people don't very often go there. But like we pretty much like want our supports, like our pen and pro, to just be like painting different areas so that they don't overlap their specials, and they can also just watch those areas defensively and also have different ways of approaching. But like the stamper is placed here specifically not just because we need to watch this area over here, because no one really goes this area too often. If they do, then like we can deal with it like getting our pro involved. But like that's not the main issue. The main issue is that if we were pushing up, where would we be going? We'd be going something like probably this. And then trying to get this pro to get just specials. The main thing that we're seeing here is that this pen is on stack and there's these two ledge goblining. So, like, we do have to deal with ledge goblins, which is why we have to, like, S-Blast able to help. We have to be careful of that. But the main thing is that we have to deal with enemy pen on stack or whatever anchor they have, because any anchor kind of wants to go here. So we need to get this stamper to be able to use the right side peek and use its range to try and disable that pen. With that pen gone, it allows us to move a lot more free, because like that pen also like pressures our S-Blast here. So like what we're getting from this is the general idea of where our opponents like are positioning, we have to play around. And if they're playing optimally, they're going to take these positions that we have to play around. And obviously you have to play around what's going on in every single like game, even if it's a bad position, but good positions force you to not have an easy counterplay. Like if we were on retake going like, oh yeah, we get the pen over here and the pro also over here, and then the stamper is going to take this area, and then the blast is going to play here. We have a very easy formation to break because this pen isn't really watching anything except for this area on our plat, so they prevent it from moving up onto our stamper, I guess. But quite simply, we don't need to push the stamper. We can just sit under this ledge, disable the stamper, and have like someone sitting here and disable this S-Blast, because like S-Blast doesn't even have really any cover besides like this sponge, I guess. I mean, it could duck behind here, but then it's not really doing anything either. So pretty much our weapons are just immobilized without tools to move forward, and our specials aren't going to be able to like do everything for us. They are not going to be able to carry that. But if we're the opponents in this situation, we just simply camp them out, and they can't do anything because they don't have numbers. And we can try and push over here a bit, but it's like difficult because they're watching over here. This map's really hard to like get a hold any further than this line I said before, like here, because there's just no cover. So just this one pen sitting here, even if that's a horrible position for pen, it delays everything. So we have to play around that. But it's not like it's hard to play around. We just simply stay under those ledges and take the fights where they don't have numbers, because their stamper is all the way over here and their S-Blast is all the way over here, while our supports aren't doing anything except for painting, I guess. But they're not even painting anything relevant. So pretty much we're just seeing that how our opponents plays will always dictate how we play, but we need to understand the weaknesses and strengths of what they're going to be doing. And like by default, we always want to assume our opponents are going to do the best thing without automatically like thinking that they're only going to do the best thing. Like, let's say we're doing this again, back to our good position. That position is playing a lot around the fact that there's going to be a pen here, and there's going to be some sort of ledge gobbling weapon under here, because that's typically what you see. You also see other forms of pressure and getting support, like, but that's pretty much our baseline because that's what most teams do. But that doesn't mean we play exclusively around this because, like, if we just assume that they're going to be there and that there's no one going to be here, we'll try and, like, drop and get a trade with that pen. That's a horrible line. We'll try and get a trade with the pen. But in reality, there could very easily be, like, there's the rollers. There could be like a roller or some other weapon that's like sitting right here, and as soon as you peek that ledge, you just die. It doesn't matter if the roller should be here instead. If you don't know that area is 100% safe, you don't want to assume that. Like, I mean, it's not really safe in the first place. You're going for a trade, but like, this is a lot more risky to run into a roller than it is to run into a pen and get picked off after by like a teammate. Because we can somewhat secure the kill on that pen if we have like the S-Blast shooting at it and the Stamper shooting at it from two different angles. But like when it comes down to it, this roller stops us from being able to get that pick, and it doesn't matter if it's like a roller or a Stamper or whatever. If it's just there and it gets you because you weren't expecting it at all, like, then that's a bad play because we don't need to take a risk like that always. That's kind of a thing about fighting roller comps anyways, but I'm not going to go into it of like, oh, they could potentially be here, but like, pretty much play around like the fact that they're going to be in the best position, but don't ignore the fact that they could be somewhere else. Don't make a new best position for them. Like, if we clump all our resources onto retaking right, first of all, this pen's going to have a field day. Second of all, like, ledge goblins, like, enemy Stamper, enemy S-Blast, are going to have a field day as well. Because they have that cover and you don't. So, and plus you're all clumped up, so the AoE hits really hard. So, like, while this is already a good position for them to stay under the sledge, by us all going and clumping up on our plat there, it makes it a new entire best position for them, and it's very exploitable. Like, and if we were to just say, move all of our pressure here instead, well, new best position. And, like, we always want to do that to our opponents. We always want to see what they're doing and get to the new best position based on what's happening. But we don't want to allow our opponents to get an extreme best position where it absolutely dominates ours. Actually, yeah, that's probably better. We don't want to allow our opponents to get those positions on us because genuinely a lot of the time we're just trying to play standard where we can move forward slowly with our specials and mains off of opportunities that we're given, and often those opportunities are given by someone being in a weak position, and like we don't want them to do that to us. Because if they're playing like that, then we're just gonna lose when we make those mistakes. Or like we're gonna lose space at least. We might not lose the whole game. But in general, we need to play in positions that allow us to deal with multitudes of situations while having answers to whatever their best option is. We don't want to give them openings, and we want to try and play around where they are. Like, if they're playing all under this ledge and playing on the left side, we can create more openings, like getting our pen to crossfire from his right side onto their pen, because their pen is kind of busy focusing every bit of pressure we have over here. Like, we can take other angles here, and like that pro can also deal with that. Like, I know we're talking about a 4v3 right now because I haven't given a fourth weapon to them, but we're just assuming that they're going to be doing something similar with their team and not be too isolated. But yeah, in general, that's how you want to handle positioning. Overall, you want to like try and think about every single map on like their relevant modes. Just not like all at once. You want to give each some time because you have to go over these situations that I've been going over, and like pretty much this has all been retake. Then you also have to go over neutral on holds, and also you have to think about different comps as well because we're just going with standard pen S blast stamper pro. This would honestly probably be a mint now that I think about it, because we're running pro instead of like splash. But either way, it's still good. It's not that relevant. That's not exactly the meta. It's still, it has the same ideas. So yeah, just go into the Sender Planner, Sender.inc. I hope you guys know what this is. It's a great website. And just think about some maps you may struggle with. Then, like, you don't have to go over every mode, but like going over multiple is probably good at the same time because, like, in general, it doesn't switch too much. Like, if we're over here, then like we still would want our pen here. We still would want like our S blast doing something here. We still probably would want our stamper trying to deal with stack here. Like, there will be minor changes though, which is why we have to go over them. Like pro, it would probably want to be somewhere more like here. I guess more clumped up, and that's not typically what we want. But the thing is that like on tower, typically like I'm assuming we're fighting for the tower over here or like at this check, either or, because that's where the tower typically stays. If the tower gets past there, then obviously we're going to move more to where the tower is. We're gonna move over to this side, and we're gonna try and fight it here instead. Like if the tower's here, or probably here if we're positioning like that. I'm not gonna finish going over Mako. You can do that yourself, but one of the things, like the main point of this video is that you should know how to consider these things yourself, because going over these things yourself is going to be how you're able to adapt in game. If you only know exactly what you've been told and just try and follow those orders and don't adapt to situations, then you're gonna fail when they run something niche or do something different. Like and this game is like very chaotic sometimes. like this game it has like no randomness, yet every game is different because of the different players and different styles, even competitively. Like doesn't matter if the comps are the same, they're still played differently by different people at different levels. So we have to be able to adapt. That's why we need to consider these things ourselves. So that's it for me today. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.